Joe, when you're in law, what Charlie Baker just did is, some would argue, is a little illegal, because he did it in bad faith with not going to the commissioners and telling them what he's doing. And there's a reason why, and I think Greg Sankey gave this to Ross Dellinger, was because of the fact he can use it as litigation if they were ever to go to court about there being bad faith and him not calling the board on this proposal.
Look, I think that what gives Charlie Baker, I'm going to actually come out right and say this. I'm a big fan of what is being proposed here, because he has done something that is, he's proposing something that is inevitably going to become the future of college football. And he did something that Mark Emmert never did and never would have done. He got ahead of it. He brought to the table what all these other conferences, we've heard murmurs and speculation, and let's be honest, are probably having closed door conversations of talking about how they inevitably secede from the NCAA. It's been brought up countless times, numerous times. It's constantly brought up every offseason. Him actually, for once, the NCAA getting ahead and bringing to the table a similar solution forces these commissioners to play their hand, to show their hand. And that's why he didn't go to any of the commissioners. We talked about this pre-show. He didn't tell Sankey or Petiti or any of these guys, because he knows that they would have shot it down, because they don't want any association with the NCAA. But if he builds a framework and they're already associated with them, they're going to have to go with it. I actually would argue that the SEC and the Big Ten and the ACC and all these conferences should be excited that the NCAA is proposing something like this, because they don't have to regulate it. They get to put all of the mess that is going to come on, the asserted blame if things go wrong, any potential litigation if there is any thoughts of it being inequitable. All of that falls on the NCAA now. And if I'm Greg Sankey, yes, I'm pissed that he didn't come to me with this, but I'm also supporting it because now I don't need to take the fall if things don't work out.
I completely disagree with you, okay, because in reference to one big thing that you said, I don't disagree with everything that you said. I'm glad that he tried to do something. What he's proposing, though, isn't what you're saying is you're glad he's trying to do something, right? But what he's doing is not the right thing to do.
What's the right thing to do, though?
You cannot force
minus the Title IX stuff, because that's got to get sorted. But
that's
outside of that
revolves around.
I know, but the concept, let's just focus on the concept, though. The concept of there being a fund, a trust fund where the money comes from and the players are paid a minimum amount of dollars. Is that not a good idea?
No, because not every school is going to be able to fund that.
Well, that's why it's creating a separate subdivision. I mean, like, I don't need to watch Vanderbilt get their asses kicked every single week. I have no problem that they're not going to be competing in this level.
Joe, the problem in that, okay, is he's saying that we're separating the top from the bottom and it's getting too far. Well, all you're doing is by subdividing, you contradicted yourself that big dogs are going to get bigger and the smaller dogs are going to get smaller. Because if somebody, okay, can even have the ability to go to an LSU, Notre Dame, Texas, Texas A&M, Georgia, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, they're not going to go anywhere else for playing time because they know that they're going to get paid $30,000 a year. It won't matter. It's a separated thing. He put a minimum on something that had no business being a minimum. He's ruining this. You can't put and by the way, do you know how trust funds work? The school has to go to the advisor. The advisor puts it in a trust fund, and then it shoots out money to the player every month. Right? Okay? He wants that to be equal. So none of this can even go into fruition without Title IX in general. So all the shit that he said before there doesn't matter because every other girl or player that gets paid is going to have to do the same for all the other athletes. And people are not going to be able to fund that. So let me just tell you this.
I know you got to get going, but final thought.
Yeah, okay, my bad. I didn't.
Sorry, I knew you weren't looking, so I wanted to let you know.
Final thought: the $30,000 minimum is insanity because let's say you got 5-10 girls on a tennis team. Joe, you're not spending $200,000 in their active budget right now.
That's a good. That is the only thing that needs to get sorted. So
But
I
they
understand
can't
that.
sort it because he brought it into the legislation.
Make sure you check out Bet Online for all of your sports betting needs. For anything that I do betting related, I go on over to betonline.ag and I use promo code BELIEVE50. BetOnline has all of the latest updated odds for the NFL and college football seasons. Anything you need, whether it's futures, live in-game betting, no matter what, your football betting needs are met at BetOnline. And again, make sure you use that promo code BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50 to get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.